Hi there! In this video, I'm going to show you how I throw a mug on the wheel, alter it with craft foam, carve it for the Mishima technique, and add embellishments. Okay, so I think my wall should be about 1/4 of an inch thick right now. So I'm just going to straighten it up. Get some of this excess off. Rid of as many of those pull lines as I can, so I'm gonna switch to the metal rim of death. Call it that because if you don't hold on to it, you'll kill your pot. And I have to give a shout out to Chandra DeVuse because this is not my invention. I learned this from her, so I'm just passing on the knowledge. Thanks, Chandra. Okay. So I'm gonna wet this a little bit because it's otherwise a little hard to get it to stay. I'm gonna place this a little bit, you know, kind of, I don't know, I'm gonna give it maybe an inch or so above the trimming area so I can make a nice little belly with it. And so what I'm gonna do, turn this a little bit so that I'm holding each part. It's a little tricky to get it to stay. And it might not, so, you know, just adapt, overcome, as my husband would say, Gunny Highway. Okay, so now I'm just gonna hold this in place. And you know, actually I want it up a little bit higher. There we go. And at the bottom where the curvy shape is where I'm going to use my fingers on the inside, and I'm pushing out and pushing up against the shape here. And I'm using 2 fingers inside here. And yes, this is going to distort, but it's okay. We'll get it back into shape. So we're just pushing a couple fingers. Want to make sure and get it nice and pushed up against that shape because that's what defines the whole thing. Okay, again, this is a little too, it's all right. It's kind of low, but. So I'm just turning the wheel, whoa, come back. Turning the wheel as I go. I love making these, they're so puffy and happy. They're like clouds. Okay, just make sure again, just get against that shape, I can push that in. Make sure I get those down shapes there. And we're coming in for a big one. Okay, so like we're a little short here, but that's okay because we'll just make it up. Just do a little puff like that. Just make up that little space there. Okay, all right, so Now, I think this is not deep enough here. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna unveil the poofy mug. There we go. So now you see we're a little wonky, a little out of shape here as far as being centered. So, but that's okay. So we're just gonna get a little water on here, get that messiness out, and just gonna go back to center. Just gonna give this a little trim. Okay, no, that's too big. All right, just use this one. Okay, now I'm gonna just like give this kind of a trim here on the wheel because I hate trimming. So I'm just gonna give it as much as I can. All right, and now let's see. Just smooth that out. Remember, your fingers are your first tools. Okay, and then I've got some fingerprints down here in the bottom, and I'm just gonna carefully get those out. Okay, all good. All right, I'm gonna give this a little space to cut it. There we go. Okay, so as I said, I also don't like doing handles. I hate pulling handles because I hate the water dripping down my arm. So I have here I have a sprig mold, and I got this, I think at the ceramic shop. And I already rolled a coil of clay. So because of the theme of this mug that I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this handle that, I don't know, kind of turns and kind of just makes me think of patterns in a tree. So, and I start at the bottom because I'm making a mug handle. I don't need to, the top would be just too fat for a mug handle for the top of it. That's, the length of this is more for a, more for like a pitcher or something. I want to make sure that I have this completely filled with clay, nice and even. And I'm certainly not going to need that much, so I'm just going to take that off of there. Okay, and then I'm going to take a plastic rib, in this case a hotel key card. You don't want to use metal or anything like that with this, with the sprig mold like this, because it's plaster and you'll be, you know, wearing away at your mold. And even the plastic card, plastic rib does it a bit also. So what I'm doing now is just evening this off, just taking away the excess. And I'm making this longer than I need it. I have a couple of little goobers there, so I'm just gonna fix that up. Okay, and I'm gonna pull it out nicely. Might have, there we go. Okay, so I have some cracks in it. That's okay, we don't need to panic about that. I'm actually just gonna dip it in water because this is porcelain. This is 365 standard porcelain. So, it does that, porcelain does that, it tends to dry out a little bit. So I'm just gonna mush it back together. Attach this handle also is cut it at a 45 inward. It's probably still too long. I'm gonna cut a little more. There we go. Okay, so I got my nice 45. Let's see, let's measure it. And I think that will be lovely. Okay, So what I'm gonna do now is, because I'm gonna be doing a bit of decoration on, so I'm just gonna put my handle here to set up while I'm decorating the mug. A little baby powder in them, and when we get to that, I'll show you how we're gonna do that. But I also like to do mishima as well as embellish. So what I'm gonna do before I start adding anything is to, I'm gonna carve with my X-Acto knife. I'm gonna carve some trees, trunks and limbs here. So I'm just gonna start with that. And this will give it like a little feeling of three-dimensionality. There we go. And put some branches out here. It'll almost be like a forest. And you notice I'm not being real fussy about this. So I'm just going to use my hair dryer here to dry up these little clay boogers and the areas that I carved, so that when I brush them off, they don't just go back into the grooves that I made with the knife. Because what we're going to do later is to put some black slip inside of these lines, so we don't want that to be all muddied up. Different directions, make sure I'm getting as much as I can out of there. Okay, same thing with these molds as with the sprig mold for the handles. I overfill it and then just scrape with my plastic rib to get it nice and flat. And there we have it. So now I'm going to pop this out. I have to loosen it first. Okay, so now I have to attach it. I'm not going to worry about score and slip because, you know, it's kind of hard to determine where things are going to go. So I have a mixture here of slip and some porcelain and stoneware enhancer that helps with attachments. So I'm just going to put some of this here. Actually, this clay is wet enough that I might not even need that. I use it for the handle, but I probably don't even need it for this. I'd like to have this. And I think I'm going to let that go right over the rim. No, maybe not. I'll turn that off. On this I think I'm just going to go with water to attach these. I don't think I really need the additive on the slip. Into the bottom here. So it looks like maybe they're coming out of there. Okay, so I think maybe I'm gonna add one more segment to trees or branches or whatever we want them to be. Let's say they're small trees. How about that? One more, just one more. Mostly just break out of here. I'm going to start attaching some of these leaves. Again, I think the water will be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to cut some more leaves and attach them all around the mug, and we can get back together when I'm all done with it. Okay, so as you can see, I've pressed a few little birdies here, and while we were away, I did a little more, cut some grain into the three-dimensional trees that I put on here, and you can see that I attached all my leaves. So now I'm just going to place these birdies and have some flyers. I think this guy's going to fly. Boop. I hear birdies singing outside. And I'm just placing randomly. Got a little crack there. We don't want that. Make sure that's attached very well. And I have a bird to sit in a tree. Where does he want to sit? Right there. Right there. Yes. I'm going to take a little bit of this branch away so that it doesn't stick out too much. Unfortunately, the birds only fly in one direction. Scored this a little too much. Hope not. See, I broke the birdie's tail. But now we're going to be applying some black slip here. A little whirl. And the slip is going to go in all those nice little Normally, like if you can use black underglaze for this. This is a really nice technique to show up all the detail in your piece. So I'm just going to continue cleaning this up, and I'll see you when I'm all done, and we'll do some underglazing on the bottom.